Hello, and back to another week in the bait shed. Right, so quick catch up. Obviously last video we were talking about first trip out on the rivers, first match on the river Soar 2025. For those that don't follow us on Facebook and some of the other social media, did okay actually. I enjoyed it. Got absolutely drowned. It was as windy as anything in the afternoon, but they did say the storm will coming through. But effectively third overall, which actually gave me a default section win, so happy days. A few more beer tokens spent down the pub, bought the wife a beer, so she was happy. Could have been second overall, but yeah, forget that. I lost a bream, not at the net, in the net. But anyway, not going to go into that. Right, anyway, no fishing this weekend. There is a match on this weekend. There's another match on the canal actually at Loughborough. But we're coming up to a busy time of year soon with family and bits, kids going off doing football, this, that and the other, and I'll be doing more and more fishing bits and bobs. So it's like, no, you know what, this Sunday I ain't fishing, we're gonna have some family time, bugger off out for the day and go and have some time as a family. So looking forward to that actually. So anyway, so no fishing. Thought just put something together, just sort of, I don't know, hints, tips, whatever you want to call it. We're going to expand on this, so I'm going to put something together now. We'll just have a quick look at a few things, just going on a few sort of comments I've had in the shop. Had some nice feedback again, people coming into the shop, people I've never even met before, we've never even met before, saying been watching your channel, love it. So yeah, made up with that. But yeah, people coming back to fishing, who found us, who've coming back to fishing. It looks like it's a different world now to what it was 20-30 years ago. I mean, it kind of is and it isn't. I had a little bit of time out. I think we all do. Get married, find pubs and beer and food, mortgages. Then we are sort of mid-40s upwards, and kids have moved out, gone to university or whatever, and I've got time again, I can go fishing. I'm going to go back fishing. And we've had some retired folk come in as well, and things do look like they've changed, but they haven't changed. Yes, modern technology has moved forwards and made things a little bit easier, but at the end of the day, fish still live in the same environment, they still feed the same way. So they've not changed. It's us as anglers and people that have changed. So I was going to look at a couple of little bits, make it up into a couple of different episodes, I think. So this will be sort of an intro, shall we say. Just look at stuff that we stock that you will probably already know, as opposed to going somewhere and think, oh, bloody hell's all this? I don't know any of this. So that you would know, but alter it slightly. Where I've talked about in the past, and I talk about it a lot, certainly on my experience days, because it's something that's come from a match fishing. I'm time poor at the moment with running the shop and other bits and bobs, family life, but we're still, even though we're retired and my kids have moved out, whatever, this day and age we're all time poor. And I always advocate about prep at home, whether it's ground bait, tying rigs, cleaning rods, setting rods up, hook links and stuff like that. So just thought I'd just give you a quick look at hooks to start with, because without hooks we're catching nothing. Doesn't matter what we put in, a bait, anything. No hooks, no catching. So thought we'll have a quick look at that. So I'm gonna have a quick nice brew. Better halfway through that, I'm going to need another one shortly. Right, so bit of prep. Something again. So we were talking about hooks being the most important thing. Most, because we ain't no hooks, we ain't catching. Obviously, you will hear me talk, and you've probably seen the videos. I, as a rule of thumb, tie all my own hooks. Main reason being is, for me, with competition fishing or pleasure fishing, I think it gives me more scope in my hook links and my hook choices, etc. But that's for me. There's loads and loads of pre-tied stuff out there that's good or even better than what it was years ago. And sort of, well, actually, I do use some pre-tied hooks, and they're generally the really short method feed hooks. They've probably got a band on them because they're a bit of a pain in the arse to tie. I can tie them, but not as good as what I can't quite get the latex bands and the attachments on the hairs quite right, quite the same. So I do use those, but I do modify them, which is what I wanted to talk about really. And it's kind of a bit of a tip in some respects. Shouldn't be giving you tips really, especially if you're going to compete against me. Right, so now you're going to have to bear with me because some of these are a bit tatty, so it just shows you how long ago it is that I use some of these, buy some of these. Right, so if you've come back to fishing, one of the main names you're going to recognise probably is pre-tied hooks, because you're not tying your own hooks. You'd find it difficult to tie your own hooks. So there's nothing wrong with them. Go ahead and use them, because if it gets you fishing, happy days. It's Kamsan. Been around forever and a day, yeah? These are actually Kamasan B511s, so you might remember that name. It's B520s as well, you remember those. Obviously, these are whisker barbed hooks, so depending on what sort of fishing you're doing, where you're going, you must make sure, A, whether it's barbless or whisker barbed, no such thing as barbed hooks. Like, remember the old mustang hooks with the old massive barbs on you? Don't get one of those in your fingers because you weren't getting out. Anyway, Kamasan, you're going to come across those. Here's another one that was around ages ago that used to do pre-tied. Drennan used to do quite a few, and they still do now. Also restocked the Kamasan range. There's, again, that's the same pattern, same hooks. So Kamasan, yeah. There's obviously a Kamasan range. There's the animal range, pre-tied, that are all barbless. There's the B911s, I think they are. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. F1 hooks, pre-tied. They also do pre-tied banded. That's some midi hair ones. There's loads of them out there, absolutely loads. So there's something that will fit most. If you're just going out pleasure fishing, they'll fit for most things. But, and here's the but, majority of them do need an adjustment. So there's something that's an adjustment you can make that is you can sit at home and do. So it makes getting on the bank easier, because if you remember back in the day, trying to get the damn things out of these packets, and you'll probably remember, if it's back in the day, that these used to be bloody paper and not plastic. You come coiled up like that. I don't know if you can see that because it's so fine. You come coiled up and you're trying to undo the damn things. You end up pulling them, and they just end up in a knot, and it's like, bin that one, let's go on to another one. Oh, wreck that one, do another one. What a ball ache, yeah? And that's, for me, if I've spent, I bet you if you time yourself, you'll waste 5 minutes trying to get the damn things out of the packets if they're like that. Yes, some of them are on straight boards these days, which are better. And in the end, you get them out like that, yeah? Come out, you think, hey, happy days, I can get that on. But that's a load of wasted time. I could do that at home, you know? Whilst watching some crap on TV, I can sit at home and I can actually put them in to a hook box, which is going to cost me a couple hook boxes. And I'm going to try and keep this a bit shorter because I'm going to go into length for this another day. And go into what it's all about. Right, so at home, and anybody that comes on any of my experience days or sees me on the bank, sees me using these old school stuff again, stone float. Yeah, there's loads of different models of these. Loads of people make them now. They make them fancy ones, but these are dead basic. I like these ones because if you're just talking about stuff getting wet and trying to get them out of these packets, if they do get wet, they're a pain in the backside. If these get wet, I can get them home and stand them up. If I've got a packet of those that's all wet through because they've been in a box, they're even worse to get out. If not, the whole thing's ruined. So anyway, you'll see that I'll make these up. These are obviously my pre-tied stuff, but there's a method in the madness. Obviously these are all done, set in. I can sit at home doing these while the wife's watching some rubbish on TV, and all I've got to do is just ping them out, dead quick, dead easy. And it's just take them out of them packets and put them in an up box. But you've got to make an adjustment, and there's an absolute reason for it. So most of these, this one's a bit of an exception because this one's silly long. This one is, I think I measured that, about 21 inches long. Massive. Don't need to be, no. Maximum really is 6 inches, she cried. But that is about as long as you want it. I fish, you probably noticed with those, they're 4 inch, yeah? There's a reason for that. We'll go into that in a minute. But these are too long, way too long. Even some of the short ones, I think the average now is probably about 10 inch, which is, I've even got my tape measure down here because we've got to transfer it into metric. Where did that come a thing? Metric. So about 25 centimeters, yeah? 25 centimeters is still too long. Why? You're asking me reason why. So we need to cut these down, A, so they fit in the hook length box. How do we do it? Why on earth are we cutting them down? So why are we cutting these down? Bite detection. Biggest thing is bite detection. Right, we'll go into this into more detail another day, but something to think about in the meantime. So this is stupid long. Hooks down here, over here, wherever you, I don't know if you can see it, but stupidly long, right? Now, school of thought is you put your last shot, don't you, above the hook link loop. Yeah, one hook link loop, probably be able to see that just. We put the last shot back there. And as a rule of thumb, that's the shot that sets the float perfect, yeah? So, you know, when that last shot and above the hook length set, the float is set perfectly in the water, yeah? So, if, and this is 9 out of 10 times when you're fishing for silver, smaller stuff like I generally do, this is absolute paramount. It's not so much if you're fishing for bigger stuff, but you still don't want to hook link that long. So float fishing, whether it's waggler, pole floats, stick float fishing, and even feeder fishing or leisure fishing to a point, but that's a whole different subject. But we're thinking about what you're probably going to go and fish, whether you're fishing a local pond, down the canal, on the river, whether it be a waggler, a stick float or a pole float. This is a big thing that will make a big difference. Right, this is, again, I'm going to have to show you this properly in a tank, and I'll do it again another day, so keep an eye out for it. So that last shot sits on top of the hook link. That shot sits afloat, so the float is just almost, for me, a pimple in the water. If I put that float in the water, no matter what it is, type of float it is, oh, I'm all hooked up. Good job, that's light line, isn't it? And the float doesn't settle, and it's sort of, I don't know, just sticking up out of the water and think, that float ain't settled right. I know that somebody's intercepted that bait on the way down, and it's held that bottom shot up. And it, as a rule of thumb, when I'm fishing for this sort of stuff on a canal, or whether it's on a commercial or whatever, I'm fishing for little fish, 9 out of 10 times the fish are up in the water, see the maggot, whatever it is, going down, and they'll pick it up. And then the float don't set, and the float's sort of sticking up out of the water, and I'll lift up, fish on. Not always a sail away. But, I've just snapped this. Oh well. Right, but, so if you imagine the hooks here, and that's there, yeah, and that last weight's there, you've got all this movement. So that fish could intercept that in the way down, pick that hook bait up, and it's got massive amount of movement. You're never even gonna know that that fish has picked that bait up, because it's got so much movement between that bottom shot, which is a shot that registers a float, and the fish moving around. As I say, as you can imagine, if it was a bigger fish, it wouldn't matter too much, but with smaller fish, it matters massively. So it could be round here, up there, round here, down here, over here, and you ain't registered a bite. And then the chances are it's either de-hooked itself and it's actually coming out the back end of the fish, or it's spat the bait out and, oh, I ain't having that, there's something wrong with that. So shorten the hook links. So as a rule of thumb, we'll fish a short hook link. So if you imagine you shorten that hook link down to 4 inches, I do, you've only got that amount of movement before it disturbs it. So does that kind of make a bit of food for thought? So it makes a 4-inch hook link, all of a sudden it's got such a small area to move in before it disturbs, or it's picked up that. So it could have picked up all that, but if it's only picked it up on the way down, the chances are it's lifted that bottom shot, which will register a bite, or it's moved away with it. And because it's moved away and it's such a short movement between the hook bait and the registered shot, or telltale shot, whatever you want to call it, that float will go under. And that is a big difference between meaning whether you're going to catch anything or you're going to sit there drinking tea and watching the world go by. At the end of the day, we go fishing to go and catch fish, don't we? All right, so hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. So the hook link's too long. Obviously in these sort of boxes, which I say they're not even 10 quid, and you can store loads in there. They've got different length pegs in, yeah. So 10 centimeters, 7 centimeters are a bit of a pain in the arse to tie, to be fair. 10 centimeters, which is your 4-inch, your 15, 6-inch, and so on, yeah. So take them out. If you're using pre-tied, I'll take them out of there and then I'll make them up. I'll shorten them. Most of us can tie loops back in the end of them, yeah. Put a simple loop back in. I always use a little loop tire. There's different versions of these that look like disgorgers almost. We'll look at those another day. So we're going to look at this as a bit more of a topic in another day. So how do I get the length? Again, I'm going to have to show you that another day. I need to make some tuck because I haven't actually got anything. But one thing you can do, you want a little piece of wood, yeah, 2 nails in it. So almost like the pegs on that. So you could put 2 nails in it at 15 centimeters or 6-inch. So you put your hook on one nail, put the line round the top nail, hold it together, which gives you your loop, and then you can tie your loop in, and then that will give you your 6-inch to go into your hook box. Actually, is worth making it ever so slightly smaller, so you probably do it just under the 15 centimeters, just to give it a little bit of tension. Then you can put your hook link into your hook box, and then you can bring them all down to a size that actually is going to work. Some of the, so there is some now that are tied sort of 10 centimeters, which seem to be a better, but they are still majority of the time way too long. Way too long. I just found one of these. Look, I've been trying to dry some kit out. There you go. That's one of my, there must be a canal hook. That's a, see what I mean with the movement of that being a lot shorter before it's disturbed, before it disturbs that bottom shot. So it just, what I'm trying to emphasize and get to is A, prepping at home. So prep's done. So when I'm going fishing, I'm going fishing. I'm not going to go fishing and think, oh, prat around trying to get this damn thing out of this bloody envelope to put on my rig. I'm probably going to waste, they only come in packs of 10. I'm probably going to waste 2 or 3 trying to do the damn things. I could have done that at home. I just sat at home watching some crap on TV, and I could have had all that lot ready to go the night before. So that kind of arcs back to my match fishing. I ain't got time on a competition. There ain't time in the morning to be doing all that. And then if you've got them in, hook link, by the pure nature of a hook link, is designed to be the weakest point, yeah? So hook into a decent fish, it's gone in the leers, broken. My hook links are ready to go. I can be bang, straight out, new one on, straight, out we go again. Not trying to faff around trying to get them out of the damn packets. Again, I'm quick fishing. It's all about maximising the amount of time. And then if I think, actually these hook links are a bit tight, I need to go up a scale, I need to go up a breaking strain, I can soon go in my box and get another one out, or a bigger hook out, change it quick, dead quick. So obviously there's these bigger ones. These are generally what I use for sort of my feeder fishing and stuff. I use the longer ones and then the shorter ones. But then probably the majority of what people are going on these days on the commercials are only going to want short hook links for feeder fishing. The longer hook links generally using on more moving water. Anyway, so we'll look at that. So it's a little bit of food for thought. So if you want to ask me any questions, put some comments down the bottom. We'll do a separate thing on this. I've got to do a separate thing about obviously setting the floats, and people were asking about how do I gauge and how do I set it up so the float is right in the water, so I know whether it's a lift bite, and how do I watch the float sort of settling. So that kind of comes into that, all into kind of interlinks and makes fishing better. I know it kind of sounds, oh well, this is making it a bit more complicated. It's not making it complicated. So I'm trying to obviously get across in more simpler terms, because I do get asked, how do I improve my fishing, how do I catch more or just catch fish at the end of the day. At the end of the day, yes, we go out to go fishing to catch fish. Brilliant. I love to times go out pleasure fishing, watch the world go by. If I catch something, it's a bonus. I still want to go and catch something. So if the rig's right, the rig's working right, there's these little tweaks, there's stuff out there that makes life a lot easier, like pre-tied rigs and stuff, but they still need tweaking a little bit. They're not as quite there. Obviously they're manufactured in bulk to a certain that spec, and that is it, but you can make them work better for you. So that's what we're going to look at. Okay, right, so I'm not fishing this weekend, but I'll still try and do something next weekend. What else have we got? Tubes for amount of people that have asked about the cylinder I've got for my DOS Piombo and float shotting. I've sourced them. The ones I've got are glass, and I can't ship them. You could come in the shop and get them, but they are glass. I've managed to get now some which are due in any time soon that are acrylic, basically. The right size neck, because I know there's the Sensas ones out there which are great, but they're quite small necked and they're stupidly expensive. You need a bloody remortgage your ass to buy one of them damn things. So anyway, I'll put them on here another day, but they'll go on the website hopefully in the next sort of 24-48 hours, so keep an eye on them. Two different sizes, one for sort of, shall we say, doing short floats, commercial floats, canal floats, and then one that will be better for doing majority of river floats. So keep an eye out for that. Anyway, we'll cut this short because we've been going on way too long. I'm trying to keep these short, these videos, but I'll just go off on a tangent. By all means, pop in the shop if you want to come, email me, whatever. If you want to ask me questions, comments, feedback or anything, please do. I've had them already. Don't forget the usual thing, we're trying to grow this channel, and the more people that like and subscribe, the more Google will look at it and send it to other people that may not know about us. So I noticed there's quite a few people that just come on, watch the videos, which is great, but if you like it, hit the thumbs up. Obviously if you don't like it, don't hit the thumbs down, don't really want those. There's a notification bell thingy bob that tells you if I put a new video on, I think. Don't know exactly how that works, but try it, tell me how it works. Tell your mates. See you all soon, guys. Have a good one.